Hey there, the college football playoff is slated. We've got our brackets. We know where things are headed, and some people were left out. I know my Penn State Nittany Lions certainly were. Just wanted to go and take a little bit of different spin on this, and instead of ranking schools by their prowess on the football field, look at them in terms of what if this was your school list and you were applying to colleges for next fall. How would this shake out from a financial perspective? So hopefully it's a fun lens to look through and understanding how these different schools operate. So we're going to get right into it. We've got a great mix this year. We've got some private schools, and we're going to talk as an Ohio-based firm, an in-state school in Ohio State. We've got some elite privates like Miami. We've got Tulane. We've got JMU, SEC schools. We'll talk through how some of their business models differ, and obviously some Big Ten schools, and Texas Tech is sneaking in there from the Big 12. So hopefully this is a fun kind of lens to look at this from, and I certainly have fun putting this together. So I'm going to try and hide myself as much as I can and move on here. So as we look at how we're going to frame this up, it's important to understand, I say it all the time, every family is a snowflake going through this. So you really do want to understand how to tailor this and make sure it's for your family. So here's what they're going to look at. They're going to look at the family's finances to determine your eligibility for need-based financial aid. They're also going to look at your student's bio, GPA, ACT, many schools. That's how they're going to determine if you are eligible for merit scholarships. So this is just a sample family, good family, good income, make about $225. They've got some cash in the bank, $50,000, and they've got some non-retirement investments, 529s and mutual funds. And remember, retirement plans aren't included in here, so that's kind of what we're looking at. And most schools, those are really the three biggest factors that impact your student aid index and your eligibility for need-based financial aid. Some schools, however, private schools, use an additional form called the CSS profile on top of the FAFSA, and home equity is assessed at some of those schools. We'll look at that and contrast those as we go, and that'll determine need-based financial aid. And then we've got a great student, our future scholar here. It's got a 3.95, weighted 4.2, SAT scores 1430, ACT 32. So really a talented student. So as we go and we look at our schools, the first thing you're going to start with is, well, what does it cost to go there? And that's the sticker price. And you'll hear me say frequently is that the sticker price of college really becomes pretty meaningless once you understand, and we peel back the layers of the onion. But you can see we've got our affordable in-state school is just over $34,000 for this Ohio-based family, Ohio State. And then you see kind of up the ladder. So Texas Tech are most affordable from a cost of attendance standpoint, and keep those things in mind. And you kind of see on down here, all the way down to $98,000 for Tulane and over $100,000 for Miami going into the fall. So that's where we're at, $35,000 to $100,000 for 1 year, right? So what we want to understand, though, is where do we get discounts and what is the net cost to go to these schools? So switching this search, you see this is completely jumbled up now, right? The cost of attendance has become effectively meaningless at most of these schools because it's all about what are we going to pay, right? So this is the cost of attendance here, but this is our net cost. And you'll see Alabama and Mississippi actually jumped Ohio State. And that's very intentional because when we look at those schools, we know that they're actively trying to attract students from different parts of the country that have great GPAs and ACTs, and they want to raise their rankings, right? So they want to get these numbers looking better. So they're willing to pay to incentivize some talented students to up their prowess for those rankings. So, we've got some great schools, and if we go all the way down, we're looking through this list, but what we want to try to understand is, you're going, Joe, but how does this shake out? What's these two didn't change at all. Georgia and JMU, they didn't change. Well, let's get underneath the hood and peel back the layers of the onion a little bit more and understand, are we need-based candidates or are we scholarship candidates? So each of these schools, we've got a cost of attendance, right? And you'll have a student aid index at each school, and you'll see the 56.3 stays consistent for everybody using this federal method. That's the FAFSA you file. So everybody's going to stay the same. You're going to see there's no need eligibility here, these first few schools, because the cost is less than what they think you can afford per year. So you're not going to pay more than what they advertise, but understand you're not need eligible. But thanks to merit scholarships, we're going to get some great scholarships at Alabama and Ole Miss, and they're going to be trying to raise those scores as we kind of go down, and that puts these we've got 4 schools under 40,000, whereas the sticker price was pushing up to 60 on some of those. So And then on down the list, right? So we can kind of see how these different things go, and you'll see that Miami jumped from the bottom all the way to the middle of the pack, and that's because of need-based aid. So when we look at this 100,000 cost minus about 40,000, our need eligibility there is $60,000. So that's going to bring our costs down, with grants being most of that. Our costs going to come down to nearly pretty much half price because of need-based financial aid. So they're going to lump these together, give you a little scholarship, a little need-based aid, but ultimately, the cost to go there is half of what the sticker price because of need-based aid in that case. So, and you'll see here, $39,900 is what they think you can afford, and that's their formula. They just look at things a little differently. And then Tulane, well, it says it's an I as well, but why is there such a difference? Well, if you remember, this family has $300,000 in home equity. Miami does not look at that as a resource, whereas Tulane still does. So that's a swing of $15,000 per year, that one component with their need-based aid. So that's a significant difference in your out-of-pocket. So understanding, some of these schools, there's no need-based aid and there's no scholarships. So, Georgia, it's in the same conference. It's by Alabama and Mississippi, but they just don't have to incentivize students quite as much. So that's, the whole thing here is, it's not about the cost. It's about what we're going to pay, right? And it's not about averages. It's understanding, like, how is this school doing it? So when we drill down deeper into like an actual school, you're going to want to understand, like a school like Ole Miss, they're giving great scholarships because they're recruiting, right? They want to get their numbers up. And these are their average ACT ranges, 21 to 29. So our student was a 32, well above that in the top 25%, easy, and well above their average GPA. So those are the types of students they're really going to incentivize in the form of scholarships, because we know this is what it costs, $50,000. We also know they don't do great with need-based aid, but they do great with scholarships. 40% of kids that get a scholarship, on average, it's over $10,000. So when we look at it, they actually show you, if you do this, you'll get this. Ole Miss is this way, Alabama is this way, Tennessee is this way. So in our case, we've got a 32 plus ACT and a 3.95 GPA. So we're going to get the top scholarship at this school, and, kind of on down the line. So getting those points better. So that's some of those schools, but again, it's not all lumped into one. So, we got different schools doing things very differently. And then at the end of the day, what's it going to cost us over the 4 years, right? So if we make this choice and we go here, here's what it's going to look like. So we have some choices to make. Anywhere from 125,000 to up over 250,000. So well over double, and everywhere in the middle. But the key is having transparency and understanding what these schools might cost us for 1 year, and then you got to push that over all 4 years. And then you got to figure out your budget and what your gap might be at these different institutions. So, hopefully that's a helpful lens into the college football playoff finances. For the 12 schools in the playoff, congratulations to all those schools. And it should be a fun playoff, and I hope you enjoy it. I know that I will. Be well.